This one's about holes. About
we
a hole.
already did holes.
Okay, let me see if I can get a pop culture thing going to start us. Are you aware of the Junji Ito hole?
No, I don't know what that is.
So
Is that, is that a K-pop thing?
No, Junji Ito's he's a manga artist.
Okay. This is my hole. This hole is mine or whatever. It was made for me. Yeah, I know that.
Okay, so it's that. The other one is Stargate, because this is we get to Stargate territory with this one.
We were in Stargate territory, I think, a little bit last week too.
Yeah, Stargates are basically the theme of like the next few episodes, which means that I feel like in a few episodes we should probably get like
we should
probably get Isaac Arthur and maybe actually watch Stargate, but maybe get Isaac Arthur to talk about teleportation and
good idea. We should do that.
But yeah, so today, I'm about to actually start talking about stuff, and I realize that we're only like a minute and 30 in. We have to be distracted by something.
We have to be distracted by something. Do we ask ChatGPT to write us another poem about our topic today?
Let me see if we can.
Hit us with a spicy ChatGPT poem.
Okay, here we go. All right,
make it horny. Can you tell ChatGPT to make it horny?
I can try. Let's see. Right, this is a poem. Make it horny.
Awesome. This one's for adults only.
Okay, I see the word carnal, so we're off to a good start.
Off to a great start. What's our topic today? Presented by a horny poem from ChatGPT.
All right. As I stand before the archway tall, my heart races, my senses enthralled.
Oh.
For this ancient site in Peru's south has an allure that I cannot live without.
Oh, okay.
The Puerto de Hayu Marca, carved with care, 7 meters high and wide. It's quite rare.
Yeah, it is.
In the rugged Andes, it stands alone, a symbol of history's mystery unknown. But it's not just the beauty that draws me near, it's the mystical energy that I feel here.
Can we do this?
Some say it's a portal to another place, a gateway to worlds beyond our space.
We shouldn't do this here.
And as I ponder these ancient astronaut claims, my thoughts turn to you and your heavenly frame, for I feel that we too are connected to the stars, our passion igniting like a fire on Mars. So let's explore this portal together and discover new worlds in each other. For as we enter this archway's embrace, we find ourselves lost in a primal carnal chase.
No.
You said horny.
I did say horny. This is on me. It was like longing for a little bit and like in a really
now
sort of like
fuck.
sensual way. Yeah. The last couple lines are just like, anyway, let's fuck now.
Oh boy.
Hey, let us know if you like us opening with a poem from ChatGPT. I'm delighted by it every time so far.
Yeah. This is a podcast called What Fucked Up Shit Can We Get ChatGPT to Say This Week? No, it's called It's Probably Not Aliens. It's a podcast where we debunk ancient astronaut theories, ancient aliens, and pseudo-history and pseudo-archaeology. We're mostly focusing on going through the show Ancient Aliens, episode by episode. My name is Tristan Johnson, and I know nothing about what's going on today.
My name is Scott Nicewater. I've developed a cough from laughing so much just now that I feel like it's going to take a lot of editing for me to make this episode sound good and not sickly. But I'm the one who truly knows nothing right now. Tristan's pulling your leg. He knows everything. He's got all the answers in the folds of his noggin.
Mm-hmm. So to an extent. So this episode is about the Puerto de Hayu Marca, which is, according to ancient aliens, if the poem didn't describe it, is a potentially, according to ancient astronaut theorists believe that this hole is a Stargate, i.e. a portal to another dimension, another planet. Oh. Who knows?
Who knows? Who can say?
The Puerto de Hayu Marca is like a site in the mountains in southern Peru. It's near Lake Titicaca, which is not too far away from where the site of Pumapunku is. Yeah. So already, I don't know if you've noticed.
We've talked about before on a previous episode, if you want to listen to that.
I don't know if you've noticed, but ancient Peruvians are often harvested by ancient astronaut theorists for their crackpot stuff because...
Great.
Think about it. We did the holes. We did the Nazca lines. We're
doing another hole now? now.
Yeah.
A lot of holes.
And so this place is in this very rugged, remote part of the Andes and has become a destination for tourists who are looking to see the mystical properties of the site. It's also the subject of people who believe that the archway was built by extraterrestrials as a portal to other worlds.
Great.
So
how do they? Okay, how did that happen though? Like, what makes them think that this is a Stargate?
So I'll tell you a little bit about what this thing looks like. It definitely looks like if ancient people were to make a portal in stone, you would. I'm going to send you a picture that you can right click save as so that you can get an idea. What should I send it to you on?
Slack would be great.
Okay, because to be honest, this thing looks weird. It looks really weird.
All right, here. When you send it, I'll paint everybody a word picture. Okay, what it looks like, is this all rock? The whole thing, even the top part of it? Okay, so what it looks like to me is a very tall, very large, very wide, like it sort of just looks like a wall made of like, it must be multiple stones, right? Or is it just the one?
Like yeah, it's just, I think it's carved into the stone.
It's carved into the stone, but it's got lines, like diagonal lines crisscrossing a couple of places.
Though.
Those are natural. Okay. So it's this big stone that does look like it has sort of an outline around it, sort of a squaring it off. And then near the bottom center, it's got if you were to imagine drawing a human skull with only straight lines, just the outline with only straight lines, that's what it sort of looks like to me. I guess another way to describe it would be a keyhole. I don't know why I went to a human skull. But
you describe everything as like, it looks like a human skull, but if it was a banana.
Yeah, have you ever seen a spider? They're sort of like these human skulls with lots of legs coming off of them. Yeah, anyway, this thing is huge. And then you can see, because I can tell it's huge because there's a person in a bucket hat in the bottom right corner who's taking a photo. No, they're just holding their hand out to almost look like they're trying to grab something, which is very cute.
It's about 7 meters tall and wide, as the poem says.
It does, yeah. It does look very big, and it does look very...
7 meters is about like 20 feet, maybe a little bit more.
So it does look interesting. I will give you that. I don't know if I would immediately say that this is anything like a portal to anything. Is that just me?
Well, okay. So according to the ancient astronaut theorists, this place is a Stargate. That
so I'm wrong. Sorry.
So this arch here is basically a portal to another dimension, and that the shape of it and its location in the middle of nowhere is the evidence that there's something funky going on with it. Like, why would they build something like this in the middle of nowhere? It makes no sense.
I guess that's true. The context of it sort of not having anything around it would make it weird. Mm-hmm. Like a Stonehenge sort of a thing, where it's just like, why is this just out in the middle of nowhere? That's strange. Mm-hmm. So I guess that would be true. If that's true, is there truly nothing around it, or is this just sort of
not a whole lot?
Thing?
It's a fairly remote region, but there is some like evidence of Inca living in the region, but it wasn't, and it wasn't discovered until the early 90s. So you can imagine that it would be pretty out of the way if it's that way. But yeah, basically the other idea is that the reason that this is suspicious is because the carving of it is too precise, and you would have needed like laser drills or like high precision power tools to cut something like this.
They always say this. Yeah, they've said this before. They said this about Pumapunku, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. And this is close to Pumapunku. So it's in the same sort of vein. So because of its like connection with all the other ancient astronaut sites, it's sort of all in the same thing. And that obviously to make that, you would have need either anti-gravity device or a laser tool or some sort of advanced machinery.
Yeah. Why do they do that? Like you couldn't, because you could presumably make this sort of thing today, right?
Yeah.
So why do they say you need anti-gravity or some sort of laser? I mean, I guess we do have laser cutting devices now, but like, that's weird that they're just like, anyway, you have to have this thing that we haven't even invented yet, an anti-gravity thing, in order to make this thing that we could presumably make even today. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this was made by people in the past before us as well, if I could jump the gun a little bit.
If I were to hazard a guess, that it probably has something to do with the fact that there's no evidence of them having trucks and like earth movers and stuff like that. So if they don't have evidence of that, then they have to have had some sort of tool that they they could have used to move things without having trucks. So
Gotcha.
anti-gravity machines, obvious next thing.
Anti-gravity.
Yeah, so this is called the Puerto de Ayumarca. It's in the Andes Mountains in southern Peru. This is generally thought to have been built by the Inca civilization, which was a powerful civilization that lived in the Andes Mountains and thrived for centuries until basically it was destroyed by, I want to say I think the guy's name was Francisco Pizarro. I know his last name was Pizarro, but I can't remember his first name.
Mario, Luigi Pizarro, Tony.
Yeah,
Vito
Francisco Pizarro, who is responsible for killing holding the Incan emperor hostage and basically turning over the entire empire to the Spanish.
Gotcha.
So, good old, the Incas were the general power in what is modern day a huge region, but probably centered in Peru.
I don't know why I went Italian if you're talking about Spanish people.
Spanish and Italian can sound similar, and you live in a country where there's a lot more people who speak Spanish than Italian.
That's true.
Wait, then that would make no sense. It should be the opposite.
That would make no sense then. So then I made it hard. I went the complete opposite direction of what was expected of me. I zigged when I should have zagged, Tristan.
There you go.
You never know what you're going to get.
So that's the main thing. It's a representation of the fact that the Inca were known for building some pretty amazing architecture and had some great engineering, like Pumapunku. But there's, lots of other sites that we know of that show that the Inca had pretty good grasp. They built road systems through the mountains.
But for what? They didn't have trucks?
No, they didn't.
You established this.
They did have alpacas as a sort of beast of burden.
Is that like a brand? Is that a brand? Is that like a make of truck?
Sure.
Of car?
It's a make of llama. Yeah, I'm realizing that if I'm going to need a point of reference for you, we're going to have to talk about the Emperor's New Groove. We're in Emperor's New Groove territory.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the Inca have a history of building these really impressive sites out of stone, not to mention that they are known for all sorts of feats of geoengineering, like building an entire road system that covers hundreds of kilometers in the Andes Mountains that connected the empire to each other so that you and your alpacas could travel towards the capital in a way that was because of this infrastructure, it was, compared to a lot of empires in this region, very centralized. I think we talked about this a little bit with our Band of Holes episodes, where there were vast flung parts that the Incas were only peripherally in control of, but they had a whole taxation system and stuff like that.
Yeah. Can I just say, going back to Emperor's New Groove, that did have a quite central scene where they mistook a llama for a human skull. So maybe I'm not far off.
This looks like a human skull, but a llama.
Everything's a human skull when you think about it.
Dear God. This site in particular was discovered in the 1990s, and the more accurate term that archaeologists give it is a ramumuru.
Okay, cool.
They describe it as a T-shaped alcove.
I guess you could say T-shaped. You could say human skull shaped, low poly human skull.
There you go.
But all right, I'll accept T-shaped.
And this is also one of those situations where we don't actually know what it was made for, but the guess is the most likely guess is that this was probably a construction project that was abandoned.
Oh, so they started on it. They were like, all right, we want to make this T-shaped thing, but oh man, it looks too much like a human skull. Let's start over. Let's quit this one. We'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. And what happened is that they went to...
Am I leaning too hard into the human skull thing?
I mean, you own it now. You own it now. All right. It's your bit. You made your bit. Now you have to lie with it. It's a bit of a boneheaded one.
Oh.
So the main thing about this site is that there are some locals that call it the Puerto de Ayumarca, which means Gate of the Gods. And there are some local legends that people have disappeared through the doorway and seen near it strange sights like tall men accompanied by glowing balls of light that were walking through the doorway. So there's local myths and legends surrounding it that sort of people in the area talk about with it.
Some tall guys.
Some tall
guys with glowing balls. What if it was just basketball players with cool glow in the dark basketballs from the 90s?
Because everything was glow in the dark in the 90s.
Yeah.
We were just talking before the show about how we want to make glow in the dark It's Probably Not Aliens t-shirts.
It would be very fun. What if the knot was glow in the dark? And so it would just said, it's probably aliens. And then in the dark, it would say, it's probably not aliens. I like the idea of everything being glow in the dark.
What sticks out the most is that like on the logo, I don't know why I'm gesturing to my shirt right now, but on the logo that we have, there's a lot of really cool hidden intricate imagery that is hidden by it being a very bright shade of green, like a green on green thing.
Yeah.
So I always think that stuff, if they had it so that like some of those designs were glow in the dark and some weren't, so that when the lights came off, all of a sudden your shirt looked like had this cool like Mayan hieroglyphic thing on it. That'd be pretty sweet.
I think that's awesome.
I don't know how
Let us know if you want a Probs Not Aliens glow in the dark t-shirt.
I definitely want one. I don't know how we'd make one, but we'll figure it out.
We have to have at least 100 people committing. Send us your credit card information. DM us your credit card information so that we can charge you immediately so we can make these.
For legal reasons, don't do that.
Don't do that, actually.
Yeah, so back to this thing. So essentially, like, this like local story got picked up by people like Jerry Willis, who's like a paranormal writer, and also apparently he claims that he has walked through the doorway.
Oh.
And when it comes to things like this, like Jerry Willis is the main source of why we think that there are local stories about people walking through the portal. And he claimed that he also walked through the portal, which means that we also have to think about how legitimate it is that it even is a local legend, because this guy might have just written about it. He might have just had some vibes.
I see. Yeah, where it's just he created it and is claiming that there's a local legend about it, but is like, I bet there's a local legend about it, so I'll just say that there is.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if these local legends are legitimate, because there's also several photographs of locals just kind of goofing around the portal, which means that if they see the place as like very reverent, that it has this like mystical properties, there probably wouldn't be as many photos of people just like messing around it.
That's true. But he's claiming that he's like gone through it?
Yeah.
Did he talk about what he saw?
Not in the research that I was able to find.
Just like, yeah, I went through the Stargate and I wound up in a completely different part of the universe.
It was pretty rad.
It was pretty cool. Everything is a lot pointier. Everything was pointy at the place I went to. Just really sharp. Didn't like it. Left.
Very few polygons.
Wouldn't recommend
it. The
skulls
looked like T-shapes.
All the aliens I met had really weird T-shaped heads. No one ever talks about it. Everyone's talking about the grays and how smooth and round they are. No,
maybe these are pointy. Like what's it called? We've got the Kiki and the Booba of aliens. You know, you've got like the smooth round aliens, and they're like at eternal war with the pointy polygon aliens.
Ones.
And we're just stuck in the middle, being middle pointy and smooth. And the whole universe, like the whole like dynamic, the whole like yin yang, good evil of the universe is pointy versus smooth.
Pointy versus smooth. That's what it is. Pointy versus round. Who will win? I don't know. We'll never know. We're blowing this wide open right now. So someone get Jerry Willis on the line. Yeah, Jerry, tell us what you saw.
And also,
how close are we?
What side are we on?
Yeah.
Like if there's going to be a war that divides the universe, I think that we should probably declare our allegiances right now between smooth and pokey.
Which side has the best vibes? Tell us, Jerry. Which side has the coolest vibes?
Because there is a smooth side, but the smooth side's got to be like almost too smooth, like an almost uncomfortably smooth.
Yeah. Like you'd think like, oh, like, what's like a really uncomfortably smooth thing? Like, I'm not a big fan of holding balloons. I feel like they're smooth, but I don't like touching them. Is that weird to say?
No, that makes sense. There's always sort of like a little bit of like, I feel like everyone's got things where like if they touch it, they get like a little bit of like a ugh. And usually it's like the most weird things. Like for me, it's styrofoam.
Styrofoam.
I can't really touch styrofoam without getting the heebie-jeebies.
I get that. Yeah. And then meanwhile, pointy stuff is just...
No one likes pointy stuff.
No one likes pointy stuff. I guess some people do.
It's coarse, it's rough, and it gets everywhere.
We've gotten way off course here.
We have.
Whose side are we on, Jerry?
Yeah, Jerry, help us, Jerry. So let's go into like real quick. It's probably not a Stargate, mostly because there's no evidence of there actually being one. And
did you not hear that Jerry went through it?
With the exception of Jerry's point of view, no one else seems to really have much to say about whether or not there's a Stargate there.
Wait, hold on. This goes back to the Junto Ito thing, right?
Yeah, it's his like, hole.
It's only his. It's Jerry's hole.
Yeah, Jerry is T-shaped. He's perfectly T-shaped, and that's why he can't go
Jerry T-poses into the hole, and only he can fit through it.
There you go. Gotta look up the other end and see if we can find Jerry somewhere in there. He never came back after he went into his hole.
Never came back.
It's going to come out and he's going to be really pointy.
We'll know which side to side with then.
So with the exception of Jerry, until Jerry comes back, we have no evidence that there's any extraterrestrial technology here. And there's really not anything that indicates that they need hyper advanced stuff, as we've shown throughout this show. And like when you look, the Inca had some pretty impressive feats of stone crafting in their own right. And they were pretty good at fitting and crafting. Like the area nearby at Pumapunku shows that they had exceptional skills at being able to fit stones with each other in the way that they could interconnect in ways that stayed stable without needing mortar, which is pretty impressive.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, because they just would they would just shape the stones well enough and then have them fit like tight enough. Yeah, they basically invented Lego.
Sorry, you're not supposed to say the S after Lego. It's just Lego. Plural Lego is Lego.
Prescriptivist
That's
grammar.
My bad.
It was like Legos.
It was like Legos.
Yeah.
Lego lie. No, that's a
Lego lie. That's the plural of Legolas.
Legolas.
Well, we are in a mood today. Okay. The other thing
this is a short episode. I'm padding it out with jokes and tangents.
Yeah. The other thing too is that the Inca do have a lot of other sites that show that they have pretty good stonework. Not only Pumapunku, but there's famous sites like Machu Picchu or Saskatchewan. Both of these sites are different. They're different fortresses basically that have been abandoned at different times and are known for having this exact same design of like well-crafted stone work that fits in together without the use of mortar. I know, for example, to sort of make people sad, that Machu Picchu, that site is very famous, and it's also very famous among like people who are into like psychics and spiritualist stuff. But in order to clamp down on the people like over tourism, you now have to basically enter into a lottery to be able to go to Machu Picchu. And even then, because Machu Picchu is like so high up in the mountains that you actually have to get there via like cable car.
Oh.
And so like you basically enter into a lottery to be able to go up for like a period of time up to Machu Picchu to see things. They can control the amount of people who go in and see it.
Is cable car a type of llama?
Yes. It's a robo llama.
Technology.
You're starting to get it.
I'm putting it together.
But yeah, again, like this is a case where we're undermining the feats of the Inca people and the fact that they were more than capable of being able to do this. This is one of those episodes that like borderline on like, is this enough for an episode? But I think it is because, again, first of all, Santiago. Santiago from Peru. Very much enjoyed when we talked about Peruvian stuff. So this one's for you, Santiago.
This one's for you, Santiago, and no one else. No one else listened to this.
You should title this one, "This episode is for Santiago and no one else." No one else download.
No one else download this.
Just Santiago. But it does show that, like, you know, the Inca. First of all, the Inca were very capable of being able to do this stuff. But two, it's further exoticizing indigenous people. These are Native Americans of a sort, and if there's any group of people that have been abused for their abilities or abused by having their amazing constructions just dismissed as alien stuff, it has been Native Americans, and I would even say the people of Peru specifically. So this sort of builds on that whole thing that we talked about with the Nazca lines, with Pumapunku, and I guarantee we're gonna have to do a Machu Picchu episode in the future because Machu Picchu shows up in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Also, the fact that it's become like a tourist site and a curiosity also like destroys some of or at least threatens the need for this to be a site of real archaeological research. One of the things that I want to point out is that something that is mid-construction can give you a lot of insights into the processes about how people did things. I think that one of the most famous ones is that we learned a lot about how the moai on Easter Island were made, or Rapa Nui, because we found some that were mid-construction, and we were able to discern how they did a lot of the things they did to make through those half-built things. So
that's right. We've done an episode about that too, if you want to listen to that.
Yeah, it's one of our first episodes. I think it's like episode 3 or 4 or something like that.
It's pretty early.
So altogether, Ancient Aliens is wrong. They're relying on basically the report of a dude. One Jerry, a single Jerry.
One Jerry. They got a Jerry's worth of evidence.
They have a Jerry's worth of evidence, and in doing so, they're doing what Ancient Aliens does in their long string of things, which is undermining the ingenuity of a group of people, and also making it turns out that the better answer when something looks weird is maybe it's just not finished. Maybe it was abandoned or canceled. This building was canceled by the woke mob.
Well, so they were trying to write. They were trying to write. So it's like a little fat T. Sort of what, if I can describe it better. This hole. It's like a little fat T.
That was my rap name.
Fat T. Whatever I was about to say is not going to be funnier than that. So we're just going to call it there. This was a good episode. A little on the short side.
A little on the short side, but
I think that goes to show how little that the actual show Ancient Aliens does to try and convince you of something. They'll just spend a couple seconds at this thing that is just like an unfinished piece of, stonework, and they're like, but what if it's a Stargate? Think about that. Anyway,
equally likely. I do think that this always rings back to, I used to do this for like ghost stuff, not on a podcast, but I used to take an interest in debunking claims of like ghosts and hauntings. And you would be surprised by how many like ghost stories about a place have their origins in books that are called Ghost Tours of X City.
Oh, so like they weren't actually, there weren't other sightings other than what was written about in the book in the first place?
Yeah, like my sister maybe still is really into ghosts. And we went to New Orleans when we were like, I think I was like 20-ish at the time. 21, I remember, because alcohol was definitely a big part of that trip. Anyways, and when we were in New Orleans, she went on the ghost tour of New Orleans, and I decided to not do that because it was Christmas Eve and I wanted to get drunk. So
and you risk, the ghost of Christmas past and present and future showing
you're
up
just tempting fate
and
at that
teaching
point.
you a valuable life lesson, which we can't have that.
It's true. So, but when she came back, she told all of the like really compelling stories, and she's like, how can you deny this? And then I like researched at least one of the stories, and the first incident and the only incident that I could find of this story was a book called Ghost Tours of New Orleans. So it's like,
so they were like, I gotta sell this ghost book. I'm just gonna make something up.
Yeah.
I will say props to you for not being the one to initiate it, because that would be sort of a party pooper if you were just like, anyway, you had this really cool adventure, I'm gonna debunk it, rather than, you were challenged to debunk it and you did it. So props to you.
Welcome to a mini podcast called It's Probably Not Ghosts.
Maybe you like these short episodes. I don't know. Let us know at our Twitter at probsnotaliens.
If there is Twitter, if it's April. Wait, is this episode coming out after April 15th? We might not be on Twitter anymore.
Wait, what happens on April 15th?
That what's it called?
Taxes?
No, they said that
American taxes.
After April 15th, your tweets won't show up in the For You feed if you're not verified.
Oh, we're not going to pay for verification, everybody.
No,
we're not going to do that.
Don't be a rat. Don't cross the aisle. Don't pay for Twitter, folks. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, don't do it.
Okay, so this one comes out 4 days before Twitter ends. So you can for a very brief time hear about this on Twitter. But if you don't hear about this on Twitter and you want to follow up on the stuff that we make, Scott Word over here runs a YouTube channel called Nerdsync.
I'm pumping out videos. I'm trying to anyway. I've got some stuff planned, including a video about making videos. That's what I'm working on next, is just sort of where I'm going to take my channel going forward. I'm at sort of like a creative impasse where I want to try a bunch of different things. And I think that was helped by this podcast. This podcast is a thing that wouldn't fit on my YouTube channel. It's a very different sort of thing, but I love doing it and I enjoy doing it. And so I'm sort of at a point right now with my YouTube stuff where I'm like, I've been this comic book guy for a while and I've dipped into cartoons here and there too. But like, what if I just wanted to try anything? What if I wanted to talk about a reality show that I like? And what if I wanted to talk about some other news that I find interesting or just commentary stuff? So I'm going to make a video sort of exploring that and my thinking behind it. So it's sort of like a meta behind the scenes of Nerdsync, and where I'm at now that I've been doing this for like 10 years.
Whoa.
It's wild to think about. I've been doing YouTube for 10 years and I'm finally like, maybe I should change something. Anyway, Tristan, where can people find more of your stuff back, which is called, I said stuff back because
Stuff Back History.
Stuff Back History.
It's all about the stuff that's in the back.
Where can people find more of your step back content? Which
Stuff Back History is my YouTube channel about what historical figures had massive dumpsters, who just had cake for days.
Who were double cheeked up on a Thursday? Let's go.
Who was a Mrs. Incredible? Who in the past was a Mrs. Incredible?
Mm-hmm.
So my YouTube channel is called Step Back, where I talk about things to do with basically the importance of history on understanding how the world works. That's like my general pitch for the channel. You should be seeing some video. I'm actually like, after we record this, I'm going to then finish a video that should be out by a couple of weeks in the time, where I interview Noam Chomsky and we talk about the Iraq War turning 20 years old.
Yay.
Very fun, but I actually got to talk to Noam Chomsky for it, and it was wild. Anyways.
I like hesitated with my yay because I didn't want it to seem like I was rooting for the Iraq War. I was more rooting for you talking with Noam Chomsky.
Yeah,
that sounds exciting.
Wild.
That's more exciting than a war.
Yeah, I watched the video too. I watched the video a few times while I was doing the video, and I'm like, I can't believe that this actually happened. Anyways, if you want to support our work, you can do so in one of three ways. If you want to sign up for Nebula and you want to choose us to support through Nebula, you can go to nebula.tv/probablynotaliens and sign up, and you get all sorts of content. Yes. Mine and Scott's and a bunch of creators that I know you're going to love.
Plus episodes of this podcast 1 week early, sometimes more than that, because when we do brand deals, we mess up and get dates wrong and things. So if you want to just have ad-free episodes of this podcast a week early, go check it out. Nebula.tv/probablynotaliens.
Yeah, you can do that. And you sign up today, you can listen to next week's episode right now.
That's the trick. You can listen to it. It's up, it's waiting for you. What are you waiting for? Don't be rude. It's waiting.
The other way you can support the show is if you leave us a review on whatever podcatching platform you have. That does help us, boost us in Al Gore's rhythm. If you want to boost us up in that and help us out with growing.
And
the
I've
channel.
talked about this before. I get an email every time someone writes a review. So let me see your good thoughts about our show. I read all of them. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, let's get more of. I'm trying to think. What was that really funny podcast that one we got the other day? That was just like very short, like good podcast or something.
Yeah, all you have to do is write good.
Good podcast. And that's it. Very listen.
You just have to write good.
Yep.
Write us your favorite comment. Tell us what else looks like a human skull in your review.
Perfect.
Maybe we'll issue a challenge every episode for reviews for people who listen this long. Tell your friends about the show too.
Yeah, that's the third way, is that you could word of mouth. Word of mouth is the biggest way for growing podcasts, and telling your friends is by far the way that I hear the most about people finding out about this show. So please, if you have somebody who has It's Probably Not Alien sized hole in their mountain, then you can move them to It's Probably Not Aliens.
Here's a better review question. In your review, tell us which side in the intergalactic war we should fight on, pointy or smooth.
Yeah. Are you a pointy or a smooth person?
Are you a pointy or smooth person? Because I got to know, because I'm confused where I stand.
I feel like if this conflict translates to peanut butter, then I am on team crunchy. I mean pointy. So
I love pointy peanut butter.
Pointy peanut butter. It's peanut butter with glass shards in it. It's amazing.
And a very simple website you can send people to that has all of our links is probsnotaliens.com. Go check it out. It's very exciting. Thank you so much for listening, and all the way through. Thank you for listening all the way through. Even if you did it accidentally because you're doing something and you didn't have a free hand to skip the episode now, we appreciate it. Until next time, my name is Scott Nicewonder.
I'm Tristan Johnson, and the truth is out there. Probably.
He's trying to fit into the hole.
I'm trying to fit into the T-shaped hole.
The Jerry hole.
The Jerry hole. Yeah, I don't want to fit in the Jerry hole.